Buddy, happy Wednesday. For anybody who is jumping on live, I am sorry that I'm running late today. I didn't have any lunch, and for everybody's benefit, it was more important that I ate lunch before coming on here. So, for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Lindsey Hall, and I'm an intimacy and empowerment coach. And that can mean a lot of different things. But to me, what that means and what I stand for is I love to help women deepen an intimacy with themselves and with others, really, really own their power and their pleasure, and live a joyful life that they absolutely fucking love. That is why I do all of this work. And part of my work, part of what I do, is I come on here live every week, every Wednesday, and do these tea break chats where I talk about what's been going on in the past week or so. It's like a week in the life of an intimacy coach sort of thing. And I talk about just, real life stuff that I did not script, I did not plan. I often think I should possibly plan a bit more in advance, but I don't. I make it up as I go. And just talk about the things because, yes, I'm an intimacy coach and I'm real good at all this intimacy work for myself, with other people, with clients. But also, I am a human and am going to continue to be human. And this intimacy work is human work. This is not sitting in some ivory white tower somewhere, learning from a textbook and then absorbing it all in and being like, aha, now I have this knowledge. I know all that there is to know about intimacy. I am now an intimacy expert because I have done this all on my own. Not how it works. This is human work. It is about connection with humans. And by that, I mean yourself and other people because we don't live in a bubble. So stuff is going to continue to come up. No matter how deep you go into this, no matter how much personal healing you do, how much personal development you do, no matter how much of the intimacy work you do, there is always more. And if you are hearing this and being like, see, it's just a scheme to keep you coming back for more and more. I mean, no, that's like, oh, well, I went to the doctor and so therefore I don't need to go to the doctor ever again. Oh, I've had my checkup and I'm healthy, so therefore no need to go back. Or, okay, I've done my sessions with my personal trainer and therefore I'm good for the rest of my life. That's not what we expect in any other realm of our life in terms of ongoing support. So it's the same here. So if you're sitting there listening, being like, she just wants you to buy her coaching packages forever and ever. Nah, I actually, that's not the point at all. It's just that life continues to happen. As long as you are alive, then connection stuff is going to come up. Human stuff is going to come up. People stuff's going to come up. Intimacy stuff's going to come up. Because that is what life is. So, for that reason, I continue to share my stuff with you because I'm learning a lot as I go. And the more that I learn, the more I can share with you, the more that you can learn, the more we can just spread this everywhere. So yeah, that's why I do this. I feel like today feels like it's going to be a funny one, so sorry in advance. But in terms of what I want to talk about this week, it's actually been sort of a funny last few days for me. And I'm not entirely sure how to share it with you, but I'm going to try because I think it's important. So I have been just sort of struggling and not entirely clear on why I'm struggling. And the reason I'm saying I'm not sure how to share this is because I'm not totally out of this patch yet. I've heard other people talk about this as the goo phase. So I don't know if you know much about the caterpillar metamorphosis into a butterfly process, but caterpillars wrap themselves up into a cocoon and they turn to goo. They disintegrate into this goo before they later emerge as this beautiful butterfly. And so all of us will experience this kind of goo phase sometimes. And again, it's not a one and done. I've been here before. I'm sure I'll be back here again. But that feels kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm still sort of in it. So this isn't I went through that and let me tell you exactly what happened and how I came through it and look at all this beautiful stuff on the other side. I'm still a little bit in the goo trying to figure out what's going on. So my head's been it just all over the place kind of. And, oh, hi Heather. I was just been talking about how I'm in this like goo phase right now where there's like, I'm no longer a caterpillar, but I haven't turned into a butterfly yet. And there's just like stuff happening. So the past few days, I've just been feeling it where my head is just all over the place. I've been like scatty-brained and can't focus on things and like worse than usual. Like, I'm like, I've got a gajillion ideas and want to implement all of them and actually I'm getting through none of them. And then suddenly I'm like not doing anything at all. I'm just staring blankly and then. And it's been like I said, a few days of this and just been like, what? And yesterday I sat down to do, so as I've been recognizing this, I realized I wanted to restart my meditation practice because I haven't been meditating lately. And when I do, I use the Calm app and they've got a daily 10-minute meditation and it just gives me time to quiet my mind. And since my mind's been like this is a great time to restart this. So I've started my meditation practice again this week before I do my daily journaling. And yesterday, what popped up in the quiet part of the meditation that I was doing was suddenly this "you're not enough" just popped into my head. And I was like, excuse me, we've been here before. What is this though? And it was just this not enough. So after the meditation was done, I started my journaling and that is what came through loud and clear. And I suddenly was like just blurted out all of the things that I didn't, until this, I didn't realize that's what was in my head. But it was like, you're not good enough at this, you're not good enough at that, you don't know how to do this, you don't know how to do that, if you were good enough here. And it was like, oh man. And this is why, side tangent, this is why I'm such an advocate of journaling, because stuff comes out that you didn't know was in there. Like before I journaled, and people would tell me to, I was like, why do I need to journal? I know what's in my head. Like, I don't need to write it down. That's stupid. Not true. You don't know what's in your head. There's a whole bunch of stuff living in there subconsciously that isn't at the forefront of your brain, and writing is a really great way to access it. So when I journal, stuff often comes out where I'm like, didn't know I thought that, or where did that come from? So that is what happened here. So I let it all out. I call it swamping. I learned that from Julia Wells, a coach who I adore. And so swamping is like just let all of the like swamp mess out. So I was like, here's all the stuff I'm not enough for. Tears streaming down my face, big old mess. And then I was like, okay, I think I've got all of that out and that does not feel good. So like, what do I do now that I'm sitting at the bottom of this messy swamp of grossness? Gratitude is the antidote to not enoughness, to lack, to feeling like I am not enough or I don't have, or focusing on the what's missing. Gratitude is so often the switch for this. Like, all right, let's get out a new color pen and let's write down the list of things I'm grateful for. And when I do grateful lists, I'd like to go detailed. So it's not like I'm grateful for my health and I'm grateful for my house and I'm grateful for my friends. Like, that's good too. But I want to do, because I've been doing this gratitude practice for quite a while now, I go deep. So I go like, I am grateful for this friend for this reason. I am grateful for, instead of like, I'm grateful for my health, it's like, I am grateful that my arms are strong enough to hold my babies and wrap them up in hugs. My babies who aren't babies. I am grateful that I have, that my legs can carry me from this place to that place to go pick up my kids from school, or that I get to walk to buy this thing I love. Like I get really specific about what I'm grateful for. And when you go into that level of detail, like you could be there for days. There's so many things to be grateful for. So it really doesn't take long. Like I'd been writing, I was on like half a page and I was crying again, but out of gratitude and going, oh my gosh, like, okay. And then, so that was sort of like external stuff, but then I turned it to like gratitude towards myself. So I am grateful for the fact that I show up in my business every day. I've been doing my mindset journaling every day for 2 weeks. This is the goal that I had set myself. I am grateful that I am prioritizing my physical health right now. So I'm not usually a big physical activity kind of person, exercise person, but I've started working with my wonderful friend and personal trainer, Pippa Grover. So if you're looking for a personal trainer, she does online coaching and she is amazing. So I've started working with Pippa to do training. So I've been doing like workout sessions 3 times a week. We've been working on my nutrition. So I'm so grateful that I'm prioritizing my physical body so that I can get it to align with how I feel, like energetically, spiritually, mentally. My physical body wasn't aligning with that. So now I'm so grateful to myself for prioritizing that. So started getting really detailed again how I'm grateful, what I'm grateful to myself for. And that made a huge difference. Now, I'm also going to be totally honest with you because I did a post about that yesterday, so you may have seen it on Instagram or Facebook. And gratitude really is the antidote to this. Like, it absolutely, a gratitude practice will change your life and outlook on life, no doubt about it. That said, again, I want to be transparent with this stuff. It's also not the be-all, end-all. So, yes, that massively switched my attitude. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel a tons better here. And I was like, oh, okay, away we go. So glad for that. And then whatever my confusion is about came back in the afternoon, and there's still more stuff happening in my brain that I'm not entirely sure what it is. The goo is not gone yet. So I sort of dealt with that not enoughness and, changed it pretty quickly into like, oh my God, I am more than enough. I am so worthy of all of this. And can do, because I've been doing this for a while, I can do fairly quick shifts there. But then, there's still more stuff happening in my brain. Luckily, I had a coaching call last night with the group mastermind that I'm in. And in this particular mastermind, we get what's called a heart seat, where you get 7 minutes of coaching. Everybody who's on the call gets that. So you benefit because you get coaching, but you also get to hear everybody else's questions and hear the coaching response back. And they're there to support each other. I love it. Absolutely love mastermind coaching like that. But so in my coaching, I brought up the fact that my brain is all blah, and it was really helpful, to get validation from other people. Like, yep, we've been there. We recognize that phase. We've all gone through it. And then also got some specific, like, okay, so what if we narrow the focus to this? And it really, and gave me some like actionable things, which really helped soothe me. And today has been a lot calmer in my brain. I don't think it's all done yet. I still feel like there's stuff going on that I am processing subconsciously that I'm not quite sure what it is. I've got a call with my one-to-one coach tonight. So with my coach, Chelsea Page, who I am hoping that we'll be able to unpick some more of whatever this is, because although I am a coach, I very much have my own coaches, because we can't, even the best hairdresser in the world can't cut the back of their own hair very well. They're like really good hairdressers still go to hairdressers. Doctors don't diagnose themselves. They still go to doctors. So again, coaches have coaches, because you need somebody else to give that outside perspective or say the things that you don't listen to when it's yourself. So I've got my coach tonight. I'm hoping she'll help me unpick some more of the stuff that's going on up there. But that's kind of where I've been at with all these things this week, is trying to figure out like what's going on in my own brain. Because sometimes our brains like to do this to us. This actually, it's not a perfect segue, but it does lend itself to the question that I had for this week, I think, which I love this question. And it actually came up from somebody else on my coaching call yesterday. So this is good timing. The question that I had this week was, how do you show yourself the deepest love possible when you are experiencing shame, guilt, disappointment? And I'm going to repeat the question because I just think the question itself is so good. So the question was, how do you show yourself the deepest love possible when you are experiencing shame, guilt, and disappointment? And like I said, what a question. So starting place, I think, is first of all recognizing the shame that's coming up, which if you're asking the question, sounds like you do recognize that. Oh, hello, lovely. So recognizing what is happening, so recognizing it for what it is, the shame, the guilt, the disappointment, noticing it, and then going, okay, what's going on here? Like, where is this coming from? But then, so figuring out kind of the source of the shame can be helpful. But your question was, how do you show yourself the deepest love during this time? So the next thing I like to do is really stop and go, hang on. The source of it can be helpful, because then it can help you see that it's not coming from in here. It's often coming from out there. And asking the question of, who benefits if I feel this way? Because it sure as hell isn't me. Usually the shame that we feel around things is coming from external forces. The patriarchy, for one, the world that we live in, saying, you are bad for this thing. You are bad. And I also want to stop, I meant to say this at the beginning, but the difference between shame and guilt, because in the question you kind of lumped them together, shame, guilt, and disappointment. But Brene Brown talks about this quite a lot, the difference between shame and guilt. Shame is, I am bad. Guilt is, I've done something bad. And those are very different. And guilt actually can be healthy and constructive, because it's like, I've done something bad. How do I repair this? What did I do? What needs to happen to repair it? And what do I do different next time? Shame, the I am bad, that is not constructive. That is not healthy or helpful. It is who I am, and that is only going to eat away and make the problem worse. So guilt, like I said, can actually be a helpful feeling. Shame, not so much. So if it's guilt that you're feeling, then I say, in terms of how to love yourself, it's okay, I made a mistake. I am human. I made a mistake, and that's okay. That's what we do. And how do I repair it? It might be challenging. It might mean a really hard conversation with somebody. It might mean, admitting that I've done something wrong. Well, if you're feeling guilty about it, it probably does, because you did something wrong. And like I said, that's okay. But so it's facing up into that and going, okay, how am I going to move forward from this? The shame piece. So like I said, who's benefiting from you feeling that? Because it can often help to go, hang on a second. I did not choose this for myself. This is not something that I have, I haven't made a mistake here. How can I be bad for this thing? And then also recognizing that shame doesn't even usually work to get the desired outcome. Or it might work temporarily, but not long term. So for example, if the shame is around something the way it came up in conversation last night was to do, or the example that was given was about eating and feeling like I'm feeling shame because I've put on weight, and because I'm eating all the Cheez-Its and drinking all the wine, and I've put on weight and feeling shame about that. Shame, actually saying I'm bad because I ate the Cheez-Its and drank the wine, doesn't actually help you eat less Cheez-Its or drink less wine. More often than not, we then try and disconnect from that feeling and numb ourselves out by eating more Cheez-Its and more wine, and then going, oh, damn it, now look at this. Whereas, so notice, logically, we can apply our logical brain to this and go, well, hang on, if shame doesn't even work, then why, I don't choose this. It doesn't work, I didn't choose it in the first place. I'm going to make a change here, and replacing it with something else. Replacing it with deep, unconditional love. Replacing it with something that you desire instead. Focus on the desired outcome rather than the shame outcome. So focus on, instead of shaming yourself into saying, and I'm going to go back to this, the Cheez-Its and wine, instead of shaming yourself and saying, you shouldn't eat Cheez-Its and drink wine, you're bad if you do that. Instead focus on, I desire to feel lighter in my body. I desire to feel that cleaner energy flowing through. What's going to help me get that feeling? Ooh, it might be carrot sticks and halloumi tonight instead of cheese sticks and wine. Cheez-Its and wine. Focusing on the desired feeling and the desired outcome rather than shaming yourself is far more effective. I'm not actually sure if I'm answering the how do you show yourself the deepest love during this time. So I'm going to try and focus on that. So it's, but I think a big part of it is that noticing those bits, choosing that it doesn't work. I don't choose this. And making a choice to, okay, I'm going to try on taking out the shame and replacing with love. How does that feel? I'm going to try that again. I'm going to try to take out the shame and replace it with love. How does that feel? Yep, better. Try it again. And keep trying that. And just really going back to, this shame wasn't mine in the first place. And whatever it is that you're feeling shame about, going, well, is this even true? Is this thing that I am shaming myself into, is it true? Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Let me give you a spoiler alert. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. Whatever it is. Literally, I don't even have to know what it is you're feeling shame about to tell you. It doesn't make you a bad person. I promise you. Guarantee. You can send me a message afterwards if you want and be like, no, it's this, and it does make you a bad person. I 100% guarantee you I'm going to disagree, because I just don't believe that any of you are bad people. Just don't buy it. Absolutely do not. So go on, try me. This is a challenge, in fact. Send me a message and tell me, and we'll see. Are you going to be the first person who's ever told me a bad thing that I'm going to be like, oh yeah, you're right, you are bad? I highly doubt it. Sorry, keeping an eye on time because I have to go get my kids. So, I hope that helped. Let me know if it did. Let me know if that one helped or not. If not, I can dive into it deeper next week, or from a different angle. But now, I do need to dash off to go collect my children. So, I want to leave you with how you can stay in touch with me if you want to. So if you are watching this on Instagram, then great, you're already on my Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you can come find me on Instagram or Facebook if you want. I'm at Lindsey Hall Coaches. If you want to let me know what you thought about this week's episode, I would love to hear it. I am here for all of the things, whether it's something you're feeling shame about, whether it's something that you're feeling like in the goo about, and you're like, oh my gosh, whether it's something you're feeling not enough about, whether it's a voice inside your head telling you something else. Let me know. I want to hear all the things. Anything that made you feel prickly, or anything that made you feel, oh my God, yes, me too. Share it. It's called the Tea Break Chat because we are chatting. It doesn't have to just be me talking at you. It's not called Tea Break Lecture. It's called Chat. So leave a comment. Send me a message on social media. Send me an email. hello@lindseyhallcoaches.com. That is the best way. Well, any of those ways. If you've got a question for next week that you want me to answer, again, send me a message, let me know. Happy to answer your questions for next week. I do always put up a story box on Tuesday on Instagram stories, or you can put the little question in there if you want, but you can also do any of the other forms of communication to let me know your question, and I will get to it next week. Also, if you're like, oh my God, Lindsey, I need you in my life to coach me, I got you, boo. So, coaching opportunities. I have got 2 one-to-one packages available at the moment. The first one is called Expand, and it is 3 one-to-one sessions. You and me on a video call, diving into whatever you need. We can absolutely get big stuff done in 3 sessions. I did one of these 3-session packages with somebody recently who was deciding whether to stay or go at her corporate job. We nailed it within the first 2 sessions, and by the 3rd session, she'd already handed in her notice, and we were dealing with the fears that came up after she made that decision, and really worked her through that stuff. So we did big stuff in those 3 sessions. So that's Expand. That's 3 calls for £444. The other one-to-one offer that I have is called Elevate. Elevate is that big all-inclusive luxurious package where you get so much depth and intimacy and diving into all of the stuff that you want to inside of you. And so that is 3 months of coaching with me. You get 3 calls a month, and this is my favorite part about it, you get Voxer. So Voxer is voice note and texting coaching support Monday through Friday. It's basically like a coach in your back pocket, because so much also happens in between the calls. It's not just like once a week things, it's all the stuff that happens in between. So you get me, basically it's 3 months of coaching, and not just 3 calls every month. So that is £888 a month, and we just get to dive so deep in and really deepen that intimacy in any area of your life that you're looking at. So that is my Elevate package, because you deserve to elevate your life. That sounded extra cheesy, but you know what? I'm a Wisconsin girl. I love cheese, so that's what you get. Anyway, those are the ways you can work with me. If you're interested, send me a message. You can book a free intro call with me. If you're like, I just want to do a vibe check, make sure that like this is actually going to work. Totally here for that. You can book your free call. There's a link in my social media bios and on my website. If you're like, no, I don't need that. I already know you. I know that you're my vibe. Like, let's just do this. Send me a message and be like, I'm in. And I'll send you a message back saying, oh my God, amazing. And we can just go from there. So that's an option too. Okay, that's it. I don't know why I'm so hand wavy today. I will be back here next week. And until then, have a wonderful week. I'm hoping I can tell you next week that I'm like metamorphosed into a big, beautiful butterfly and not still in the goo. But you never know because, life. So anyway, have a wonderful week and I will talk to you later. Mwah!